Assalamualaikum. In this presentation, we will talk about HACCP according to the products of chicken and cheese sandwich. Let's begin with the introduction of food safety through HACCP, which is a systematic and preventive approach essential for ready-to-eat product like sandwich. HACCP is built on 7 principles: hazard analysis, in identifying critical control points, establishing limits, monitoring procedures, corrective action, verification, and record keeping. Applying this principle ensure that products are safe for consumption and meet hygiene standards. Our product example is a chilled, ready-to-eat chicken and cheese sandwich prepared with bread, cooked chicken slice, cheese, lettuce, tomato, and mayonnaise. The product packaged in fruit grade, sealed, clamshells, or wrapped, and stored at or below 4 degrees Celsius with a shelf life of 2 to 3 days. This product is designed for convenience, commonly sold in cafe, retail outlet, and delivery service, targeting the general public such as students and office workers, while also highlighting caution for vulnerable groups like pregnant women, the elderly, and the uncompromised who must strictly follow storage guidelines to ensure safety.
Next, all incoming raw materials must be inspected before they are accepted into production. Chilled ingredients should be received at a temperature of 4 degrees Celsius or below to maintain food safety. The packaging must be clean, sealed, and free from any damage. We also ensure that all products are within their shelf life and clearly labeled with the batch number and expiry date. Delivery vehicle must be clean and hygienic to prevent contamination during transportation. Finally, any ingredient showing sign of spoilage, contamination, or temperature abuse will be rejected immediately. Supplier documents such as the HANA certificate of analysis, delivery note, and temperature record must also be verified during receiving. These procedures help ensure that only safe and high quality raw materials are used in producing our chicken sandwich. Next, all incoming raw materials must be inspected before they are accepted into production. Chilled ingredients should be received at a temperature of 4 degrees Celsius or below to maintain food safety. The packaging must be clean, sealed, and free from any damage. We also ensure that all products are within their shelf life and clearly labeled with the batch number and expiry date. Delivery vehicle must be clean and hygienic to prevent contamination during transportation. Finally, any ingredient showing sign of spoilage, contamination, or temperature abuse will be rejected immediately. Supplier documents such as the HANA certificate of analysis, delivery note, and temperature record must also be verified during receiving. These procedures help ensure that only safe and high quality raw materials are used in producing our chicken sandwich.
So now I will explain the production process of our chicken and cheese sandwich. Okay, the first step is raw material receiving, which is we check all the ingredients such as chicken, cheese, bread, lettuce, and tomatoes to make sure that they are fresh and safe. And we also check the packaging, the temperature, and the supplier's certificate of analysis. And also the chili ingredients must arrive at 4 degrees Celsius or below before we accept them. Okay, after inspection, the ingredients are stored correctly, which is the chicken, cheese, and vegetables are kept in the chiller at 4 degrees Celsius or below, and bread is stored separately in a clean and dry area. And in this step, we also use the FIFO, which is the first in, first out system, so that all the ingredients are used before the newer ones. Okay. Next, the lettuce and tomatoes are washed with clean water and sanitized using a food-safe chlorine solution. These help remove dirt and harmful bacteria such as E. coli. After washing, the vegetables are sliced using the clean and sanitized equipment, and we also use the color-coded cutting board and knife to avoid cross-contamination between different ingredients. Okay, although the chicken is already supplied as daily style chicken, we still check that it has reached a safe internal temperature. This is to make sure that harmful bacteria such as Salmonella and Listeria are destroyed. Okay, next, we prepare the bread, which is we unwrap and portioning it in a clean and hygienic area. So this is to prevent the contamination and keep the bread fresh. And then we assemble the sandwich by adding the chicken, cheese, lettuce, and tomatoes, which is relayering all the ingredients together. And since this is a ready-to-eat product, it will not be cooked again. So workers must follow good manufacturing practice, which is wear glove, hairnet, and maintaining a good hygiene to prevent contamination. Okay, after assembly, the sandwich are immediately packed in food grade PET container or wrap. So this protect the product from contamination and help maintain the quality during storage. Okay, next, every packaged sandwich pass through a metal detector, which is this is to ensure that there are no metal fragment in the final product. And the packaged sandwich are then stored in chiller at 4 degrees Celsius or below before the distribution, and the temperature is checked every 2 hours. Okay, after that, the sandwich are then transported using refrigerated vehicle to maintain the cold chain. So this keep the product below 4 degrees Celsius throughout delivery. Finally, the sandwich are displayed in refrigerated cabinet at the retail store until they are purchased, which is this is to ensure that consumer receive a product that is safe, fresh, and high quality product. Okay, so every step in this production flow is carefully controlled to maintain a food safety and product quality. By following proper hygiene practice, temperature control, and critical control point, we can provide consumer with a safe and high quality chicken and cheese sandwich.
I will explain the hazard analysis in our mind map. Hazard can enter at every step of making the sandwich. At receiving, we may get bacteria like E. coli or Salmonella from the chicken, pesticides on the vegetables, or physical things like stones and insects. So we check our suppliers and inspect the ingredients. In storage, raw temperature lets microbes grow. So we keep it below 4 degrees. When we wash the vegetable, we use clean water and the correct sanitizer. Assembly is the riskiest step because there is no cooking after it. Workers must wear gloves and hairnets. We also watch out for allergens like egg and dairy touching each other. After packaging, we check for broken material, then use a metal detector to catch metal pieces. Last, during storage and delivery, we keep the cold change below 4 degrees to stop bacteria like Listeria from growing. These steps keep our sandwich safe from start to finish.
Next, I will explain the critical control point in our HACCP plan. We determine the CCP by using the HACCP decision tree to identify the processing step where hazard can be prevented, eliminated, or reduced to an acceptable level. The first CCP is the cold storage of raw ingredient. Raw chicken and other perishable ingredients must be stored at 4 degrees Celsius or below to prevent the growth of harmful bacteria such as Salmonella. If the temperature is not properly controlled, this microorganism can multiply rapidly and increase the risk of foodborne illness. The second CCP is the cooking process, which is the most important control step. The chicken must reach an internal temperature of at least 75 degrees Celsius for 50 seconds. This ensures that harmful pathogens are destroyed, making the chicken safe for consumption. If the chicken is prepared in advance, the third CCP is the cooling process. The cooked chicken should be cooled from 60 degrees Celsius to 21 degrees Celsius within 2 hours, and then from 21 degrees Celsius to 5 degrees Celsius within the next 4 hours. Proper cooling prevents bacteria from growing during storage. The fourth CCP is the cold storage of the finished sandwich. After assembly, the sandwich must be stored at 4 degrees Celsius or below to maintain product safety and prevent microbial growth before they are sold. Finally, the fifth CCP is the distribution and transportation. Throughout transportation, the cold chain must be maintained at 4 degrees Celsius or below. This prevents temperature abuse, which could allow bacteria to multiply before the sandwich reaches consumer. In summary, these 5 CCPs are critical because they are directly controlled biological hazards that cannot be adequately controlled at later stages. By carefully monitoring this point, we can ensure that our sandwich product remains safe and meet HACCP requirements.
Next, we go to the critical limits and monitoring procedure. Now that our group have identified the two CCP, CCP1 is chill storage and CCP2 is metal detection. I will go through the critical limits for each, what is monitored, how is monitored, the frequency, and who's the responsible. Starting with the CCP1, chill storage, the critical limit here is that product and the chill temperature must stay at 4 degrees Celsius or below at all time. On the top of that, the time the product spent in the temperature danger zone between 5 degrees Celsius and 60 degrees Celsius cannot exceed 2 hours cumulatively. What monitored is the chiller air temperature and the product core temperature. The monitoring method used to calibrate a digital thermometer or a data logger. As for frequency, checks are done every 2 hours during production, with continuous logging during storage and transport. The personnel responsible for this are the QC officer and store supervisor. Next, CCP2 metal detection. The critical limit here is zero tolerance. Any unit that triggers the metal detector at the set sensitive must be rejected. For example, the sensitive used is Fe 2.0 mm and non-Fe 2.5 mm and the stainless steel at 3.0 mm test piece. What is monitored is detector performance and the product pass or fail status. The method is test piece challenge run. A test piece is passed through the detector along the visual confirmation of a reject mechanism. The frequency of a test piece check is at the start of each shift, every break, and every 1 hour, with 100% of a product required to pass through the detector. The personnel responsible are the line operator or the QC technician. So, in a summary, these two CCP are critical because they are the last control point before the product reaches to the consumer. With no further kill step after this, if these critical limits are not met, there are real risks to foodborne illness or physical injury from metal contamination.
Okay, now that the three critical control points have been identified, it's important to talk about what happens when something goes wrong. These are the correcting action. For CCP1 chicken cooking, the critical limit is a core temperature of at least 75 degrees Celsius for 15 seconds. If a batch doesn't hit that limit, it isn't drawn away right away. Cooking continues until it reaches 75 degrees Celsius and it is then rechecked with a probe thermometer. Any affected product is segregated and held back from release. If it still fails after recooking, it is rejected. Before the equipment is used again, it gets recalibrated to make sure the problem doesn't repeat. Okay, moving to CCP2, chilling. After cooking, the chicken needs to reach 4 degrees Celsius or below within 2 hours. If that deviates, the product is moved to a backup chiller immediately and its time temperature history is assessed. If it has been above 4 degrees Celsius for more than 2 hours, it is discarded since when bacteria like Bacillus cereus can start multiplying. The chiller is also serviced and the downtime is logged. Okay, the last one is CCP3 metal detection. If metal is found, the line is stopped immediately and all product medicines that the last verified pass is isolated. The product is rescanned through a calibrated detector. Anything confirmed contaminated is disposed of and the detector is recalibrated before the line restarts. Okay, corrective actions cover what happens when something fails, but verification is how the whole system is confirmed to be working in the first place. Daily calibration checks are carried out on the thermometers, probes, and metal detector using certified reference standards. A record review is done every day by the QA supervisor with monitoring log sign off within 24 hours. There is also direct observation, a weekly on-flow audit to confirm staff are actually following procedures and not just what's written on paper. Monthly samples are also sent for microbiological testing, checking for salmonella and total plate count. The entire HACCP system is reviewed annually or immediately if a recipe, supplier, or process changes. None of this matters without proper documentation. Records are kept for everything, including raw materials receiving, cooking temperature logs for CCP1, chilling logs for CCP2, metal detector logs for CCP3, corrective action reports, calibration certificates, audit checklist, staff training records, and customer complaints. Together, these verification steps and records prove that the HACCP plan isn't just a document, it is something that's actually followed every single day.